Bonjour everybody, in today's video I'll be showing you how to hand sew stretchy fabrics, aka how to hand sew zigzag stitches. In this piece I used a double back stitch to create this stitch, the zigzag stitches. I highly recommend you check out my previous videos where I demonstrated how to sew these different stitches that I'll be showing you here. I'll be demonstrating 3 different ways of doing the zigzag stitches. This is a woven piece of fabric that I used and I sewed on the bias of it to show you the stretch that I get with the zigzag stitches that I created on there. At first, I used the double back stitch. I did a double back stitch, and then in the middle, I did the half double back stitch, and then at the end, I used a half back stitch. And this is what you're seeing here. So I'll be demonstrating how to do these 3 different stitches, how to create zigzag stitches with these stitches on a stretchy piece of fabric. So I have my thimble and I am ready to get started. And how I hold my fabric is just the way I sew. That is the way that's most comfortable for me to hand sew. So I'm starting with the hardest stitch first, that is the double back stitch. So I'm doing my starting stitch here, and notice that my stitch is not horizontal, it is not straight, it is slanted. And that is pretty much all that is to the stitches to create the zigzag stitch, creating a slanted one and then a vertical one. So I'm pretty much doing lightning stitch instead of true zigzag stitches, but it still look like a zigzag, so I call it a zigzag stitch, but it is just a stretch stitch. And so here I'm doing the vertical stitch. All I'm doing is just doing a slanted stitch and a vertical stitch, except that I'm using the double back stitch at first to create it. And then second method, I'll be using the half double back stitch to create it. And then lastly, I'll be using the half back stitch to create it. So it is best that you learn how to do these stitches, create straight stitches with these, and get into the momentum so that it is easy and simple for you to do these stitches, create zigzag with them. And yeah, for the double back stitch, it is the most durable one in my opinion. It is so with straight stitches and with zigzag stitches as well. I don't know if anybody hand sew stretchy fabrics, but that is what I use for stretchy fabrics if I'm hand sewing them. So that is all there is to creating a zigzag stitch or a lightning stitch in this case, just creating a slanted stitch and then a vertical stitch, a slanted stitch and then a vertical stitch. I just use 3 different stitches to do so with, and that's why I say 3 different methods. But that is all there is to it. The first is the double back stitch that I'm doing here. That is more time consuming in my opinion because I do not each stitch at the end of the stitch. And once I'm done, not the stitch. And I just think that takes more time, but it is also stronger. The second method is my preferred one because it looks the same on both sides and it is faster to sew. So that's why I prefer it. You can make a narrow zigzag stitch with these, but I think with making narrow zigzag stitch, it does look more corded. That's why I don't do actual zigzag stitches where I do the stitches as vertical or slanted all throughout. So I just do the slanted and vertical instead. And that's what my stitch is looking like. It is stretchy. So next I'm showing you the second method, which is using the half double back stitch. And like I said, it is a slanted stitch and a vertical stitch. So here I'm doing the vertical stitch because that's what I ended on. And next I'm doing the slanted stitch, just like this, and then vertical stitch next. And that's just all there is to creating a zigzag stitch or the lightning stitch. So yeah, and the flatter your slanted stitch is, the neater it will look. I find that doing the narrow zigzag stitch where I have 2 slanted stitches or 2 diagonal stitches, it looks a bit corded. It doesn't look as neat. It's more tedious. So that's why I like to do the lightning stitch like you see here. And Yeah, I hope this is helpful. I highly recommend you learn how to do these stitches on a straight line. It is good to get in the momentum of sewing them. So definitely check out my previous videos. I will link them in this video for you to check out. And this is what my finished stitches look like. I have full stretch as I do with the other one, and I think it's neat. I prefer the second method. I like that it looks the same on both sides. And so I prefer to use that with my work on stretchy fabric. And lastly, I'm showing you how to create a zigzag stitch using the half back stitch. So I'm doing my slanted stitch here and then my vertical. It is about doing a slanted stitch and a vertical. My slanted one, it goes automatically. It is the fastest one, the easiest one, but I don't feel secure using this. I understand that some people hand sew using even running stitch with a few secure stitches in between, but I don't know. I mean, it looks normal, it looks fine on the zigzag side. On the other side, it looks like a running stitch, but I do prefer to use the second method. Still, I feel more secure using it than using this one. But this is the half back stitch and how I use it to create a zigzag stitch. And I have just as much stretch as I do with the other stitches. And you can choose whether you want to do larger stitches or smaller stitches. It's up to you which one you prefer to do, what you prefer to look at, and how much time you want to spend. The larger stitches, of course, is going to take less time, and this is what it all looks like after I'm done. And I did not draw a line to sew on. That does lead to my stitches not looking straight, but this is the finished work. That's the back of it. That's what it's looking like. And it just looks like running stitches in the back. So that's that. And I still have my stretch, so that's really what makes it a zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch. It just works to create that for me. So that's all. And this is my finished work. And I did go off camera to redo this again. I drew a straight line to sew on, and you can see how everything looks neat and just nice. So I also did not have the tripod in front of me, so it was just my work in front of me. I was able to focus on, which made everything look neat. My first line of stitches that you see here, um, this one I did draw a line, but on the stretchy fabric, the first line of stitches, I did not draw a straight line to sew on. So that's why it still doesn't look that neat. Anyways, this is it for this video. I just wanted to share with you how I create zigzag stitches. Subscribe for more, like this video if you learned anything from it, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.